Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to do another episode of our Road to 2K Guide 2023 edition. We're currently at 1266 and this is going to be the 1200 to 1300 segment. At this point we're no longer just novices or beginners, we're actually starting to get pretty good at the game. And I expect you guys to be pretty solid, especially in the early game. That's the main focus of getting better, is making sure our early game is solid. Today I'm going to go ahead and step it up and use more of the skills that we've built up over the last few videos and clean up my build order and also look to get some pretty sharp timings in Castle Age. We got Mongols here, and I highly recommend you guys pick civilizations that you enjoy playing and that you're good with. But if you guys play random, that's also fine. It's just important to understand the civ you're playing. In this case, we've got the Mongols. You guys can say what's up in the chat here. I'm live streaming this on Twitch. From YouTube, make sure to come on down to the Twitch side of things. I'm live streaming. This is my job. I'm here more often than not, so come check me out on Twitch. And if you guys are watching on Twitch, check out my YouTube channel, of course, and go check out the awesome videos we're making there as well. All right, so now we're playing a little bit quicker, 1200 to 1300. We're not expecting perfection in Dark Age, but we're expecting a little bit stronger play, a little bit quicker play. And so I'm going to go ahead and just loop around my scouts and scout with my sheep quite a little bit. If even at this level you can't, you find yourself not being able to scout with sheep, don't bother with it. It's not the most important thing, and it's something that let's take this wood line. It's something that just helps a little bit, but not the most important to consider. More important is just keeping the town center running and being efficient with vills. I'm also going to introduce deer luring because I'm Mongols and we're at 1300 and there's no time like the present. I don't recommend you guys deer lure if it's going to ruin your Dark Age. Most important thing is to actually, hunt. It's to be efficient with your vills, and it's to keep the town center running. If you can mix in some deer lure, especially with Mongols, it's pretty solid. So I'm going to go ahead and learn some deer. The way to do this is just to run up behind the deer, push that guy into your town center, and grab him. And we're going to go ahead and repeat the process with as many deer as you want. Now there is a downside to this, which is by the time I'm learning deer, or while I'm learning deer, I'm not scouting. So you are giving up some scouting, and it also is more micro intensive. And so what usually happens is when you're learning a boar and you're learning a deer, it gets really complicated, and a lot of people can't do this. It looks easy when I'm doing it, but that's just because of the hundreds of hours of practice that I have. I'm gonna go ahead and kill that boar. Okay, we'll wait until he goes around. There we go. Get him under the TC, I insist. Alright, one more deer. Perfect. So, lured in a couple deer. It's nice. It's some extra food, especially with Mongols. We'll go ahead and pick those guys up. And I need to make a house. I'll react. I forgot about the house. I'll make it right now. Next video, we'll go ahead and go straight to berries. Alright, picking up my geese, and now I can just simply go ahead and scout my opponent and go from there. I'm Mongol, so I hunt boar really quickly, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up the next one right now. I've got some turkeys rotting. I have some deer out here. Should garrison to kill him there, which I will actually. You know what? We always garrison like that. Kill that, and then we go back to work. We have to punish that. And we'll bring in the next boar. Almost lost the bill there. Whew, scary. And because we're Mongols, we're actually gathering resources faster. So it's better to actually go up to the next age a little bit earlier. So I'm going to do it 18 pop up after loom. And I'm going to go for a scout rush. It's a build that I have yet to showcase on the guide. I'm going to give this back to him some sportsmanship for sure. I've yet to showcase this on the guide. I've showed men-at-arm build. I've showed an archer build. And now I'm going to show a scout build. So as per most of my builds, we're going to go 10 on wood. So I got 3 here. I'll send 2 more there. I'll send 5 here. And I'm going to be good to go. With Mongols, you can probably get away with slightly less on wood because you're going up really fast, so the build is going to be quite tight. So what I'll do is I'll go 10 on wood, but I'm going to make my barracks and my stable with wood villagers. You'll also note that I'm not very heavy on berries right now, because I have a good amount of vills on sheep instead, and sheep is a faster food source than berries. So when doing these sharp builds, we have to stick first on the most important food sources. Now, I'm not going to go 0 vills to berries, because first of all, I have to make my mill, and second of all, I don't want to have all the vills on hunt, and then when the hunt finishes, all the vills on berries. I still want to balance it out, but the balance would be a little bit more on hunt for the time being to gather the res early. Let's also talk about how to scout the opponents. You want to go ahead and find your opponent and then loop around his base to see everything that he has and everything that he's going to go for. I'm going to go ahead and make my barracks and my stable at the front. And notice I'm always making houses in the shape of a wall because I eventually want to wall my base. In the last episode, we talked a little bit about walling up our map. And, oh, I kind of took away his path. Well, let's fix that up. We talked a little bit about walling up our map, and I'm going to further talk about that in this video and talk about setting up the walls. So while we're doing nothing in Dark Age and early Feudal, look at your map and figure out where you want to wall. I already know where I'm going to wall. Like, I already see it right now, and I'm going to start slowly. 1 vill to start things off, we'll wall up. And then 1 vill from here, we'll go wall up. Next we'll go back to wood, and I'll get double bit axe and start my farms. So right from the get-go, it's literally not even 10 minutes, and I already have exactly how I'm going to wall. Oh, I have one more turkey here. I have my opening strategy, which is scouts, and I know what my opponent's doing because I've scouted him, and I now see his barracks. All that done within the first 10 minutes. That is the level of play I expect at 1300 ELO, or at this level of 1200 to 1300. Why? No micro, no like APM. It's just your brain. It's just logics, and it's just good fundamentals that we're implementing to hopefully get a nice start. I'm also forgetting Horse Collar, but I'll just grab it right now. And that's what we rely on. With the Scout Rush, our plan is to get some Vill kills with the Scouts and attack early. We keep the Scouts in stand grounds, and if there's too many Vills, we can run away. That's the mobility that we have. I have to insist, using your brain and getting good fundamentals is the most important thing, because if you get that, the practice, like while we practice, we're going to get better at micro. We're going to get better at putting on the pressure, at reading the game. But this early game stuff, this is something you can do from the start and implement right away if you just actively think about what you want to do in the game and don't play on autopilot. Alright, I'm going to continue making some scouts here because I've got 3 scouts, but, you know, we can make some more. A lot of people have the habit of just making 3 scouts and going up. I completely don't like that. Scouts is the best unit in Feudal Age once Bloodlines comes in. And if my opponent is not making a lot of units, I'll attack him with like 10 Bloodline Scouts with armor and kill a bunch of Vills. So instead of making just 3 scouts and aiming for a faster castle, make a bunch of scouts and make sure you're putting the pressure on your opponent. And I'll continue walling here with 1 Vill. There's no real threats of him attacking me because I'm Mongols and I'm faster to Feudal Age. I've got scouts in his base. Chances are he's not going to counterattack right now, so I can take the time to wall up. If I'm scared of a counterattack, I simply make 1 spear to defend. But since I'm not scared of it, I'm not going to make the 1 spear. Instead, I'm going to only make scouts, which is an offensive unit. So with my scouts, I really should just be constantly attacking him here. The goal is to run around enemy spears and look for villagers that we can kill. We want to conserve our scout HP, because if we can get bloodlines with full HP scouts, we get the full extra 20 HP that bloodline gives us. If our scout is on 1 HP, we don't get 20 HP plus on that scout. We actually get 0 HP even if we get bloodlines, because it gives you a percentage of the extra hit points based on how much HP you have currently on the scout. It's kind of weird how it works, but I hope I explained it well. So we're trying to secure or ensure the safety of our scouts, not lose HP for free, because it sets up a nice bloodlines play. He is attacking me here, and I didn't get spears. So I will not quick wall. I will let myself get punished, because that is what I want to show you guys how we react to. Okay, he's not here, so I'm going to continue walling. But if he shows up, I will not quick wall, and I will let myself get punished. That's 1 spear. That's 2 spears. Okay, we got to really kill those ones then. And see, that was kind of a mistake for me. I lost HP, but that's okay. And he's not coming in for some reason, which is fine for me. At this point, I think I'm going to stop making scouts now. I have a good amount of scouts. I'm killing some of his spears. And you know what? I just want to make my way up to Castlage now. And by making a few more scouts, I've actually got more pressure on my opponents and delayed my Castlage a little bit, but I have more farms now. So my Castlage, when it comes in, will be strong. You know what? He's attacking my houses, and I'm going to make one spear on the outside. The fun thing about scouts, if you're fully walled, they can never get in. I can always repair here. I can always wall behind it with a couple of houses like this. And this is what we do to ensure your opponent can't do damage to you with the scouts if you're fully walled. We'll continue attacking now with our scouts, and we'll also start adding some farms with these guys. Oh, some value. A nice little trick, you can go in front of the Vil and then hit him, and that way you can trap him, and he'll take more hits, and that's a Vil down. Next Vil will go straight to the gold. The question about wheelbarrow in the chat, should we get it, should we not? That is the eternal question. If you want to get it with scout builds, you can. If you don't want to skip it, that's fine as well. My only rule is that you have to get it when you have like 16 farms, and right now I have 16 farms, so it's a good thing to get it. But since I skipped it, not a huge deal. We'll get it later. We'll continue walling up behind here, and 3 spears, I can't fight that. Okay, I didn't get Bloodlines and Feudal, but I conserved my scouts, and you know what, let's get the spear here as well to deal with those guys. I conserved most of my scouts. I did an okay job at that. And now, I want to go Knights and Castle. So now I'm going to get Bloodlines, which will affect my Knights and Castle, but also affect my scouts right now. So I'll wait for Bloodlines to kick in before attacking. I'll also pick up my armor, and I need to get gold mining upgrade eventually as well. For Knights, I recommend going for a second stable. I've got 7 on gold, 10 on wood, which is the magic number. We almost always have around 10 on wood. Now we'll get gold mining upgrade. If you skipped Horse Collar, get it now. And just double check you have all your eco upgrades. Perfect. I'll go ahead and address a common problem that I see occurring at slightly lower ELO here. But I might as well grab it or address it right now. And it's the idea of getting upgrades. So my voice is going crazy. It's the idea of getting upgrades too early. So right now we wouldn't get stone mining upgrade because we're not mining any stone. Getting it preemptively makes absolutely no sense because we're spending the resources up front that instead can go into military, and we're spending them for something that will only help us later. You only get upgrades that you're using right now or about to use in the next 30 seconds. If you get stone mine upgrade to mine stone faster in 10 minutes, that's not worth it. So only get upgrades that you're going to use right now or you're planning to use right away. Alright, cool. I'm going to go ahead and Night Rush my opponent now. And I'm going to get Bowsaw. You could get this if you want to. I'm not a big fan. Instead, I like to just add some town centers. So I'll go ahead and add a town center here on the wood. Makes sense. Oh, a lot of spears. We'll dodge those. I'll get foraging as well. It's a good upgrade. And I'm going to have to do a house to send this knight forward. And hopefully I can get some good value with my knights. And even if I don't end the game with my knights, I'm going to have 3 TC behind this. So I'm not even too worried about it. And as always, we're going to expand our base with our town centers. So we're going to go TC here, TC outside. I don't want to do a TC here. It's too crammed. You see that? It's way too crammed. I'm going to spread out my town centers. One here, one there. And yes, it's a little risky to be out here. If you're worried about it, just keep a spear nearby. Keep some army nearby. I like to risk it because, I don't know, I'm an optimistic person. I don't think my opponent's going to be there. I don't see him with army around on the map, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to get away with it. Now that I'm 3TC, what are we looking for? We're looking for attacks with our knights and our cavalry, knight production, and Vil production. Now, because knights are not a wood and gold unit like the crossbow, you can't make knights consistently throughout Castlage and also maintain Vil production. So for now, I'll value knights, but as soon as I have to pick between knights and Vil production, I'm almost always going to choose Vil production because I'm a player that values my economy more than my military. The only time I'll cut villager production is if I'm going all in, which is not the case with a Night Rush. Great defense from your opponent. He went spears to defend, and he's also walling up. It's the best thing he can do. But knights actually break pretty fast. Stone walls we can't break, but houses we can. But even still, I'm not too worried about it. What I'm worried about is spending my resources and keeping my economy in a good shape. We talked about it last episode, but wood is the worst resource to float because wood is a stepping stone resource. It only is used to set up gathering other resources or making military. It isn't used for actually making the military, it's just used for setting it up with production buildings. As you can see, we broke in with the house. I'm gonna back up to talk a little bit more about economy here. He's also on pikemen, so we can defend, we can back off a little bit here. So the idea is we're gonna use the wood as fast as possible to go ahead and get farms to get our food in, and the food is gonna be used to make military and to get upgrades. And yes, archers, cav archers, some unique unit, they take wood to make, but almost all of those units require food to upgrade. So food and gold are better resources to float because it's easier to spend those resources. Wood is only used, like I said, as a stepping stone. If I've got 1,000 wood floating, it takes me like 3 minutes to turn that wood into something useful on the field. But if I've got food and gold, it takes me maybe 1 minute to just make units and get them out in the field. Okay, so from here, I'm going to continue booming on 3TC. I have a lot of resources, let's get some upgrades, and let's continue making knights. At this point, we know we're going to need a monastery, a seed shop, and a university to click up to the next age. We know that. So let's go ahead and get a monastery to pick up some relics. And I saw him on pikes, so you know what? Let's go ahead and make a siege workshop to get maybe some scorpions and help deal with the pikes. That's logical decisions. I'm using it to spend my resources. We also talked about last video to make houses at the back of your map or somewhere off to the side. That way you don't get housed and you don't block yourself with random houses in your base. Let's talk about mining stone now. Stone is a resource I like to get on when I'm on 3TC and I can sustain military and economy production. So right now would be the perfect time. My economy has grown to 70 vills. I've got a good amount of night production. I can make some scorpions. I'm making vills. Now is the perfect time to get onto stone. And stone is going to be a good resource to get a good late game in, to set up a solid late game, because you get castles for conscription, castles to control your base, and you can set up some strong fortifications. All right, at this point, I don't want to give my opponent too much time. I can start picking up some relics, and I'm getting housed like crazy, by the way, so I'm gonna have to fix that. This guy needs to build faster. There we go. At this point, we're gonna go ahead and attack our opponent here. What about handcart? Handcart you can just grab whenever you can afford it. You have like 70, 80 vills, up to 100 vills. I like to get it when I'm on the way up to Imperial Age, or if I can afford it earlier. It's just a good upgrade, pick it up whenever. And most importantly with handcart, don't forget it. Just grab it at some point. All right, in late game composition, I don't really think about it, but versus Burgundians, Mangudai are pretty good. So you know what? I thought of it late, but better late than never. Let's try to get to Mangudai here. Knights are good in Castle Age, but my knights aren't great in Imperial Age. Oh, he's attacking me with pikes. Perfect timing. I'm gonna bring my scorpion back. I'm gonna bring my knights back. And if there's anything you know about knights versus pikes, is that knights are actually stronger one-on-one. So if I got more knights, I want to take that fight. Pikes are more cost efficient. However, the knights are going to be able to win this fight. And in the end, I lost a handful of knights and he lost like 15 pikes. And all the low HP knights can be healed up with a monk. So knights are good against pikes. Don't be too scared. It's just you have to be cautious because the pikes are going to be cost efficient. So don't take fights in which you're losing a lot of your knights for an equal number of pikemen. You need to kill more pikemen with your knights to make it worth it. At this point, I've got so many resources. I need to get up to an Imperial Age. And like I was talking earlier, Mongol Cavalier aren't great. So whenever you're making a unit that you realize late doesn't scale well, use it. Right away, this army sucks for late game. I don't want to make knights and heavy scorpions. I'm going to use it. By the way, I'm going to pick up some relics on the side. I'm going to use it right now and be so aggressive with my knights. And behind us, I'm going to switch to Mangudai. I'll get my stone running upgrade. I'll get Imperial Age. I'll get a university for ballistics. And I'll get a range for thumb ring a bit later on. And on top of that, I'm going to get one more town center on stone if I can. I'll get a mining camp here and another town center somewhere else on gold. And with my knights, which I have just decided are going to be obsolete in Imperial Age, I'm going to attack my opponent like crazy. I'm going to force him to make a bunch of pikes, kill them at as many villages as possible, because I know in Imperial Age, I'm going to switch completely off knights into something else. I'm also going to take this time to not upgrade my knights further, because that's not the unit I'm going to be going into. Instead, I'm going to already prepare my upgrades for Mangadai. Why? I talked earlier about not getting it preemptively, but I'm going to get into Mangadai in about 1 minute. So I'm going to start preparing those upgrades, because I know for a fact I'm going to start making those. You really found that Wallville, eh? That Houseville. Damn. I'll replace that guy. Dive him. I don't care about these knights. We're going to dive as much as possible, dodge that Magnano shot, and I'll just throw away this army. Don't care too much about it. Instead, the thing I'm doing the best, I'm playing at a very low level when it comes to like my military. What am I doing amazingly? My economy. My economy is at a really high level right now. I'm doing that to show a good example of what your economy should look like. Your economy is not going to be as smooth as mine, but with the fundamentals that I'm talking about, I hope that you guys could improve your economy. Right? We'll kill that guy. I'll get Bodkin. I'm going to get Thumbring. I'm going to get Ballistics. And as you can see, I've got a good amount of food. That's going to be helpful for Elite Mangadai. And I'm going to go ahead and get my castle. I can even buy some stone. You know what? Let's get a market. Markets are always useful at this point. Buy some stone. And how's my army doing? Well, I got good value. Let's look back. I'll get some more value. And again, I want to lose my knights, but I want to lose them for free. I'm not going to delete them. I'm going to trade them for his economy, because these knights are going to be useless for me, but those villas are useful for him. And you know what? I'll even gift them to him. I'm going to trade them versus the monks. Kill that last villa maybe. Nope. Kill his monks and trade that all. Okay. Why am I making guides when my opponents are making trade cards? What's the point? What is the meaning of life? Alright, we'll expand our base here. And we'll start making our Mangadai. And you know what? We can buy a little bit more castles as well. I'm just going to let him do that, honestly. You go, man. Castle. That's kind of a random position of castle. We're going to talk about castle positions. This one's on the front defending my base. I'm a little exposed here. And I'm going to the gold. Second castle here, perfect. It's on a hill. It's defending this gold. And one castle to defend a gold is worth it, because it's 2,400 gold, but the castle only costs 650. And the castle would be useful to make Mangadai, so yeah, it's good. And I'm going to continue making villas. I'm getting all my upgrades right away from my main unit. And this is how we're going to set up the composition. I'm going to go Mangadai, our main unit. We start with that. We're going to upgrade the Mangadai right away. And that's going to be our main unit. Secondary units. We need a siege unit, and then we need a trash unit. Let's think about it. Alright, I'm Mongols. I'm going to get a castle to defend that area. So as you expand your base, get castles around and defend your areas. That way you get safe expansions. This is a little bit on a hill, so we'll take that. Continue expanding my economy. And I'm pretty solid in terms of economy. We'll continue expanding here slowly. You can get back here. Perfect. Alright. So we're Mongols. Let's think of the composition. Mangadai, my main unit. It's good against Burgundians. It's my power unit is Mongols. It makes sense to make that. Secondary unit, we need a trash unit and we need a siege unit. Now, since I'm using my castles to make Mangadai, I don't want to also use my castles to make Trebs. Therefore, I'm going to go Siege Ram as my siege unit. Siege Ram is great at taking out buildings. It's great at running in. And it makes a lot of sense to go Siege Ram, especially with the Mongols. They get the speed boost once they get drill research, but I'm going to get conscription first. After that, I've got my gold unit, my siege unit. I need a food unit, and what better than the Hussar? Hussar will act as a raiding unit, it's going to act as a meat shield, and it's going to counter the biggest counter to Mangadai, which is something like a skirmisher. So Hussar will counter my main unit's counters. See what I mean? It's like in rock, paper, scissors. If I go rock and my opponent goes paper, if I can then go scissors right away and win the game, that's overpowered. I'm going to do that every time. So that's what your composition is going to achieve. You open with your rock, your strong unit, and then your opponent counters you, and then boom, you're right there with the next counter, and your opponent's like, wow, do you watch Hera videos? And you're like, yes, I am Hera, and then you win the game. Okay? So I'm going to continue making Mangadai here. I'm going to switch up to go Hussar. I'm going to upgrade all my units. Ooh, Idlevilles, expand. There's nothing here left. There's nothing here. Maybe some wood. Let's try to expand to the top. See some stone here. We'll take that. And as you expand, try to secure the map as well. This guy's can go look for more relics. There's actually one here. We'll pick that up. Another relic here. We'll pick that up. Nice. expand. Also, more stables. You know, not just 6. I see this problem all too often at this ELO. You guys don't know how to end games. Make your production building. Spend that res. Not just 6 stables. Have a meeting. You know what I mean? Have a meeting in 10 minutes. I don't want to play a 2-hour game that could end in 50 minutes. I'm going to end this as fast as possible. And the way to do that, I talked about it in the last video. The way to do that is to simply get to 200 pop, get the right composition, and give your opponent no mercy. Even right now, if I'm playing correctly, I should be running in with my Mangada and getting value. But I'm going to wait to show you guys what the end game composition looks like, and how fast you can end the game once you have that composition at 200 pop. It's important to be at 200 pop because even if you have the most powerful unit, the Persian War Elephant, for example, but you have only 5 of it, it's easy to take it out. On the other hand, if you have 60 War Elephants and 140 Vils to support that army, it's so hard to stop that. Just kidding, all it takes is 60 monks, because War Elephant is not the strongest unit. But you get my point. 200 pop compositions are going to be very scary. I'm going to continue making units, and okay, classic situation. I get to 200 pop, I'm like, man, I need more military. This is not a strong enough army. Delete Vils. We just delete the Vils that are idle. And this might seem counterintuitive because I paid for those Vils and now I'm wasting them. But the idea is that I paid only 50 food for those villagers. And for only 50 food, even if they worked for like a minute, they already in late game with EQ upgrades, they already gathered like 50 food per minute around, or 50 resources per minute. So the Vil pays back so quickly. And so this guy paid back, he already made a stable, he gathered some wood. That's your life, man. That's your lifespan. All right, we're gonna go ahead and continue making some rams, and we're gonna send our opponent some pain, pretty much. And I'll delete some more Vils. It's arbitrary where you delete them and how much you want to drop to. Don't drop to like 60 Vils because then your economy won't support it. You want to be able to support your military after you lose a little bit of your army. But for the time being, I've got a massive army. Oh, get your upgrades. I messed up. I need to get my upgrades there. That's the last upgrade I'm missing though. Iron casting, then blast furnace, and I'll just go for rams. And look how fast the game will end. I'm 200 pop, perfect composition, good economy. The game won't last another 5 minutes. And this is what I want to see from you guys. When you're playing at 1300 ELO, oftentimes your opponent gives you time to build up your composition. Make the perfect composition, and then don't give your opponent time to build up his. Whoever gets there first usually wins. He's building up Cavalier. That's cool. I've got Hussars. I'll run in and raid. Oh, he's got Halbs. We'll back up. So what's happening now? My Magadite beats both of those units. So my Hussar is only used as a meat shield. If he had skirms, my Hussar counters the skirms. But now, unfortunately for him, Magadite will eat all these units alive. And so as the Halbs get close, I'll use the Hussar as my meat shield because I don't mind losing Hussar. It's a food unit. I've got so much food. It's chill. And I'm going to use my rams to get in there. And it's just the perfect composition. I'm not microing. It's not anything crazy. I don't have a billion APM. This is not unachievable whatsoever. This is, in fact, I'm making it, hopefully, as achievable as possible for you guys in the chat watching. We'll get our last upgrade. And now we lost some units. How do we reinforce? Instead of looking at the fights, we go ahead and make more units to continue the pressure. And like I said, the game won't last more than 5 minutes once you get there. GG's called, and it's a good time. It's a good time for us. Oh, when do we make trade cards? Great question in the chats. You have to ask Seven Mendez for that. He's on some next level strats with the trade cards. I don't even think I'm good enough to talk about those, but for the most part, thank you. Thank you. I want to go pro one day. Do you think I can beat Viper in a tournament final eventually? Let's see what he thinks. I'm currently having trouble with that, so if you can believe in me, I see you. Is he behind me? Did he find my stream? I'm not sure. I like this guy though. He made trade cards. He's having a good time. GG's, man. But yeah, Thanks for watching the video, guys. Before we end off, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the stats. We're currently at 12. Are we at 1300? Ooh, we cracked 1300. So that's the perfect episode, guys. 1200 to 1300. Next episode will be 1300 to 1400, where I'm going to adapt even more into my play, incorporate more things, and just increase the level of play overall. Again, we haven't even touched micro. It's just been fundamentals back at home and composition. When we get to 13, 14, 1500, we're going to start talking a little bit more about micro, playing sharp, etc., etc. It's going to be exciting stuff, guys. Stay tuned, and hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe to help the algorithm. Peace.